I really enjoy putting that project together in my head, getting a set of plans that an architect has worked on for a couple of years. Then it's figuring out how we're going to build this. I'm Tim Lasher with Clark Contracting Services. I'm the West Michigan market segment leader.
Tim truly loves his career and what he does for a living. He loves to do those projects around the house and hates the idea of paying somebody else to do them. But I think the thing that means the most to him of anything is his family. He loves his kids, and his kids mean everything for him. Tim and I met when we were 14 and 15. We were band kids together, had class together, and we got married a few years later while he was still finishing up school at U of M, so we were married for 35 years.
She's really my partner in life. The day that I had my first heart attack, we had a deck and the deck boards needed to be replaced. As time kind of went on, I started feeling much warmer and warmer, and then started feeling nauseous. I thought it was maybe low blood sugar. So I walked into the bedroom. I think I was going to lay down and take a nap, and then started getting heartburn. My wife met me in the hallway, and she had her phone out with WebMD on it that heartburn is a symptom of a heart attack. And she said, "We're going to the hospital."
What I wasn't prepared for was because of COVID that we're standing at the checkout counter, and the nurse looked at me and she's like, "You have to leave." I gave him a hug goodbye, not knowing what the outcome of that was going to be for us.
They immediately took me back into the triage room and did an EKG. A couple of minutes later, the doctor walked in. He said to me, "You're in the process of having a heart attack."
And when he called and told me finally that he was having a heart attack, I just broke down crying.
There was a 90% blockage, so I was extremely lucky to be able to have a stent put in that, have the artery open back up. If not for her looking at what those symptoms were and suspecting something was going on, I would not have thought that it was heart-related. It was 15 months between my first heart attack and my second heart attack. Again, I was doing some work in the house, and I felt like I just hit a wall. I was exhausted. I couldn't go any farther. I told my wife, I said, I need to go to the hospital.
In the hallway somewhere at some point, she's pushing him in the wheelchair, and she called a code blue.
I do remember when I had collapsed onto the floor, I had heard somebody behind me, I don't know if it was my wife or somebody else, saying, "Don't let him die." And I heard that and said several times, "I don't want to die, I don't want to die." She went into the waiting room. She was by herself. She had no idea what the doctor was going to say when he came out.
He had 100% blockage of that stent that they'd put in before, and it was a blood clot, and it just went to the weakest spot it could find, which was the stent. There's a nickname for it, which I refuse to use. The first time I heard it, it just about sent me to my knees.
Now, with the second heart attack, I had damage to my heart. You realize your own mortality. It's not something I had thought about before. It made me feel much more vulnerable after going through that second heart attack. And it took me a couple of weeks to mentally work my way through that.
The physical recovery probably took I'd say a solid 6 months of giving Tim's heart muscle time to heal. But emotionally, I was a wreck. I would go to bed at night and I would be afraid to fall asleep. I was afraid he'd die in his sleep.
Losing a loved one due to a heart attack changes absolutely every aspect of someone's life. So that's part of why I want people to know this too. Prior to my first heart attack, I didn't recognize symptoms, but when I was working in the yard, I would get out of breath very easily. I would get very sweaty. I would get tired. And I just attributed those to getting older. Listen to what your body's telling you and rest when you need to. Get hydrated when you need to. Seek medical attention when you need to, even if you don't think you need it. Seek medical attention when you have symptoms. I'm
thankful for the medication and the care that he got, because it allows us to have this future and go on and continue to have more years together. I'm not ready for our story to end.